What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and in this video I'd like to talk about Bitcoin, going over the day-to-day stuff, reviewing the price action, and hopefully coming up with an accurate forecast of where we will be in the coming days, weeks, and months ahead. I do think that Bitcoin is at a low point. I don't know if it's at the low point. I'll start this video off the same way I've started it off the past few days. We're at the base of this range here. If we have lower to go, it's probably not going to be by much. If that is the low, I don't think that we're just going to skyrocket up to new all-time highs from here. A lot of people, I think, are anticipating that we consolidate and then we move down lower, that we're forming a bear flag and that we're going to move lower. Maybe. A lot of people are also assuming that we're going to do a V-shaped recovery because we've been pushed down at such a pace that when the price does recover, we're going to come up at a very fast pace. Maybe that's what we do. I'm in the in-between. I think that we'll recover and then we'll come back down, and then we'll recover and then we'll come back down. Every pump is for dumping and every dump will be for pumping. That's effectively what my thoughts are as far as Bitcoin goes over the next month or so. Typically, when we get readings like this in the RSI, when we get this low, we don't typically see Bitcoin recover for about anywhere from like 30 to 60 days. So it really could be Christmas week or sometime in late December before Bitcoin really starts to show any life at all. And there's no guarantee that this is the low. In that time, we could absolutely see a lower low, but it's probably not going to be significantly lower. We could see multiple lower lows. We've seen price action just like this before, and then we move up, right? But we're at least going to consolidate. My theory is that we will consolidate here for 4 to 8 weeks. We're on our third day now, so let's get into the short-term stuff. Yesterday we were talking about moving up to about $88,000 to $90,000. We hit 88.1K, so let's see if we have any reasons to come down or if we still are looking to move higher from here. If I'm wrong in the sideways price action theory here over the next month or two, then perhaps if I had to lean one way or the other, I would think that we do move higher. I would think that we're due for a bounce, and that's predominantly because we have such high levels of fear in the markets right now. The fear and greed index. Let's see if it'll load. Yeah, the fear and greed index, we've been in extreme fear now for about a week, really. About a week. Let's look at the short-term stuff. We'll go from there. We'll zoom back out, okay? I don't know if I said it already or not, but hit that like button, subscribe. Let's get into it, okay? 86K right now. It certainly does look as though, you've got some volume here, which is nice. You're building in price and volume's coming in. I don't like that the volume kind of plateaus here and you've got a consistent bit at the top. I don't necessarily like that, but it's the 1 hour time frame, so we'll give you a little bit of a pass. You are forming higher lows here, and it looks like you've broken that structure. A lot of people panic whenever they see this kind of look that makes them think, oh, it's definitely going down, but this oftentimes, more often than not, is actually the best time to buy. Oftentimes. Not always, but oftentimes. Like here, let's just see. Imagine all the people who got excited with these prices here. That's probably the best time to sell. Actually, objectively, the best time to sell was above this trend line, not below it. Just like the best time to buy might be below this trend line, not above it, right? It actually might be a good area to buy right now. But let's look at the indicators and see. The 1 hour RSI has broken out of its uptrend. We had a little bit of a double top. Down at the 40, finding support. You are in a bit of a downtrend now. Lower lows, lower highs, right? It could persist lower, but you're so close to the oversold zone, I can't imagine that you'd go too much lower. So, yes, probably lower from here than 86K. You probably do have one last little push down, but it's not going to be by much. And if I'm wrong, you're just going to move up immediately, and you likely do move up to that 90K level or thereabouts. Looking at this, I would assume we go down to about 85,000, maybe $85,200, somewhere in that area. Finding support at prior resistance, finding support at prior support, and at your 382 most notably, right? Very common to bounce off of that. Once we get down to 85K, 85.2K, somewhere in that area, we could even go a little bit below 85K. It's fine. It's common enough to wick below the 382 and then close above it. I don't care. It's not a big deal. If we break that yellow line, it's not a big deal. If we get to the green line, then that might imply that we do go to 83 to 82.8K, but that's not what I'm thinking is going to happen. I don't, looking at the RSI, I just think we're close enough to this oversold zone. It could happen. It's something to consider. If we don't bounce at 85 to 85.2K or thereabouts, we could go all the way down to 83.4 to 82.8K. but that's not necessarily what I'm considering right now. And likely we would recover and pump from there. You know that we've recovered. You know that whatever low is the low, wherever it might be, it's the low when we start closing candles back above the 236 at 86.3K. So start closing candles above 86.3K. We validate whatever low is there, and then we start moving higher than 88K here. Okay. The stochastics are oversold. We've been oversold before and gotten right out of it. We've been oversold before and continued in it. But long story short, regardless of whatever outcome it is, let's just do this real quick. Here, you got oversold. This is your first bit of getting oversold here. You got oversold. This is your first bit of getting oversold here. You got oversold. That's your first bit of getting oversold there as well. Maybe a little bit to the left even, right here. You were at a... You were not at the low of this move, but overall, in the grand essence of things, right, you're actually pretty close. You're pretty close to a point of which you stopped at. Here, from a high to a low, it's a little different. You weren't at the low of the move, but you were pretty close, and then you rapidly moved higher. It's not that we can't go lower from here. We can. We're in a bit of a different situation here, you know, coming off of this move than we were coming down. So I don't think being oversold here will promote this kind of downward momentum. But we can hang out for a little bit. We can go lower. I just don't think we're going to go lower than this. And soon enough, we should recover. Soon enough, we should see some upside, okay? So again, the target areas to consider, at least that I'm considering, somewhere between about 85.2 and 82.8K. I'm specifically thinking we find support around 85.2K. Maybe just below there, but something right around there nonetheless. The MACD's at an area to find support as well. 4-hour time frame. I mean, maybe we don't. Maybe we just bounce from here and we go up, but I do think that we go down to about 85K. 4-hour time frame right here. Looking at the RSI, we have broken out. That's nice, right? This was a concern that we had yesterday, was that we had higher highs in the RSI and lower highs in the price. That is hidden bearish divergence. We still have that. We still do have that, but we've been building a little bit more. We kind of broke above the 50 here. We do still have higher highs in the RSI with lower highs in the price, but that hidden bearish divergence typically isn't like a huge move, right? A little bit of a pullback from here makes sense. So this hidden bearish divergence is actually what made me think that we wouldn't get too much past 90K or 88K. We'd probably stop right here, pull back a little bit, find a higher low, and then move higher. This right here, this look is what made me theorize that yesterday before we even got to this point here, before we even broke out of this ascending structure here. That's kind of what gave us the insight to call for a slight move up that would probably pull back, provide a higher low, and then something to build from. We look at the stochastics. Sorry, guys. The stochastics are rejecting the overbought zone and coming down. This, to me, would suggest that we have lower to go. Maybe we bounce at the 50, and that's nice. Maybe we go all the way down to the oversold zone, but as long as this is crossed down and pointed down, we're probably going to go down as well. That doesn't mean that we blast through the floor, but that does mean that we're going lower than here. We're probably going to go, again, to that 85K level. The MACD, I mean, it's bearish overall. You're building bullish momentum now, but I'm not wooed by it or anything like that, so no comment there. Daily time frame, looking at this, we do have a downtrend, right? We do have a bit of a, it's even kind of like a consolidation phase, right? Where you've got these lower lows, these lower highs. It's almost like you've broken out to the downside, but still lower lows, lower highs here. You're definitely at the low ends of your range, where we are at a very low point in the RSI. We typically don't get too much lower than this. Or if you bounce from here, you typically don't go back down, right? The only times that you do push lower are whenever it's basically a tenacious effort, just a one single fell swoop effort down, flash crash moments, right? You don't see a trend building down to lower levels than where we're at now, right? It's typically you bounce here and that's it. Like I can't see any other examples where you bounced and then you came back down to a lower level, right? Here you came down. This is a lower level than these levels, but that was after you got overbought, after you saw some kind of retracement. So we're certainly at a low point here. The question I think that's on everybody's mind as far as crypto is concerned, and maybe not on everybody's mind, some people might be convinced that this is the absolute low. I'm pretty convinced that this is the low of the move. I mean, we can't go too much lower. If we go lower, we get a lower low, and then we certainly are not in a bull market after that. But I mean, just look at this, like basically parabolic run right here. I mean, if this was to the upside, if we inverted this, I would be worried right now that we would be dumping back down to this price here. back down to where we had prior resistance before, which would technically be support. That's all the way down there at 101K. And typically with these kind of parabolic movements, you do get a V-shaped recovery or a blow off top in this kind of instance. But if we put the scale regular, that would be a V-shaped recovery. So maybe it does happen. Maybe the V-shaped recovery bros are going to be right on this one. I don't know. Again, my thoughts are we're just going to, even if we do move up, even if we do move in a V-shaped fashion up to about 110, 101K, whatever up here, we probably consolidate still for about a month before we really get any progress going. I still am under the impression that we're in a bull market. I'm very confident that we are in a bull market. I think that this post from the 21st will age very well. Let's just see here. Where are we? Let's see. I want to say as of today, November 21st, I still believe we are in a crypto bull market. This was literally at the lows. I was just thinking while we were at the lows, I'm like, I wonder how many people are going to call for this right at the lows. Probably not many, because everyone's going to think that we're going to go lower, that the bull market's over. Like that was the vibe of the day. We were in the most levels of fear that we've ever seen on this fear and greed index, which to be fair was at an 11. We're at a 12 now. It's not that far away, but I think that post is going to age very well. I'm very confident. The purpose of this was not to be like, hey, look at me, I said this on the low. The purpose of this was to say that I'm very confident in the bull market. I don't care if it was on this day. I don't care if it's at this day. I don't care if it's a bloodbath or whatever. I'm very confident we're still in a bull market, and I think this is a bear trap, but time will tell. We'll see how it goes. It's certainly postured like one. We've got this very parabolic look, and typically those do get given back pretty fast. But even in the midst of this move, I would expect we still see some volatility. We probably don't make any real progress to the upside until the end of December, if not maybe even sometime in January. It could be later. It could be later too. You never know. Stochastics are bearish beyond all belief. MACD is bearish beyond all belief. I don't really have much to go off of with these other than, the last time that we were this oversold, like this consistently oversold for this long, is probably back here. We were at a low point, then we sent it to new all-time highs, right? I don't know. Oh, and then there's also the megaphone pattern, which we broke very dramatically. Let's just see here. From a low to a low here. We broke that pattern dramatically. I don't know, man. The breakout move of this would suggest that we have lower prices to go. Right, this megaphone pattern here, if we were to respect the break, I'm pretty sure the measure move would take us from this high to this low here, and that would imply that we go down to about $70,000, like 73K. I think I didn't measure right. I'm pretty sure it is 70K, but let me just see. I'm kind of curious here. What if I took this low to this high, then I measured it from here? Did that give us our move? It's pretty close. Wow. It's pretty close. See, I always thought that was weird because measuring it from the high to the low of the pattern would technically mean here. But maybe measure it before the breakout leg. I don't know. This move was the last move we had before this leg started, which broke us out of the pattern. And if we took the measure move of this leg before we had the move that broke us out of the pattern, that measure move coincidentally lines up with this low. Is that how you do it? I don't know. I'm not the most experted person in megaphone patterns. I'm kind of curious, actually. Let's just see real quick. Hold on. X, you guys see that? X platform erupts after it reveals locations of where accounts are based. Yeah, everybody knows where I live now. It's pretty bad. Yep. It was a secret before, but now you guys know I do live on planet Earth. Yes. That's where I'm at. Let's see. Come on. I don't know why this isn't... Okay, there we go. It wasn't letting me go. We want to do the broadening top. Broadening top. Broadening top, which is a megaphone. Let's see. Come on now. It won't let me delete it. You guys hear me clicking? There we go. There it goes. Why didn't it go? Okay, there we go. Broadening top. So the measure move, where do we do? Let's see. Measure rule. compute the difference between the highest peak A and the lowest valley B in the pattern to get the height. So that would be the measure move. And that would be the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th move. No, I guess I'm doing it wrong. It really is just a coincidence that this move lines up with that. But nonetheless, when we do move back up higher, when we do get back to 100K or higher, which I'm thinking we're going to get, we're going to be breaking back into this pattern. So that should illegitimize the measure move of this pattern to the downside overall. That's really all I was trying to say, was that when we do make this recovery, whenever that is, but probably over the coming days or weeks, we will likely invalidate the breakout, the measure move of this pattern overall. But again, in the meantime, before we get up there, it is completely fine. It's completely possible that we see a lower low. Don't get freaked out now. In fact, I think the best kind of trick that the market could pull right now is right before we do move back to 106K that we drop down and see a lower low. But I'm not getting that in the charts. If I'm looking at the charts, what I'm seeing right now is that we'll get a higher low. We'll probably bounce around 83.2 or 83.4K to 85.2K. I'm thinking 85K personally. That's where we're going to bounce. And then we likely move up from there and progress higher to these 100K and beyond prices. I got nothing else for you guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. And if you did, hit the like button, subscribe. I know it seems like we're a far ways away from this. That's why we don't really talk about it too much. But the next target area that we're assuming whenever we do see new highs is $180,000 to $200,000. This is the target area. That is what we're assuming is going to be achieved when we get there. Whenever that is, that might be the end of January or the end of February, somewhere in that kind of time frame. But I don't really think that we're going to see progressive movement to the upside. We're not going to see that begin until at least the end of December, if not sometime in January. We're really just going to be in limbo here. Every move up is going to get dumped into. Every move down is going to get pumped into. It's just going to be sideways more or less. We're going to look back at this similar to the 10th of October here, right? We had a rapid recovery right there, and then we came down, and then we came up. You know, we basically moved sideways from October 10th until November 10th for about a month, and then we broke out, right? Similar idea, but this consolidation phase might last for a month or two, and then we'll break out, and we're thinking to the upside, hopefully. Anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Take care of yourselves. Hit the like button. Bye-bye.